You know, leadership is a key component of scouting program. When I think of leadership, I think of young people who are confident and wise beyond their years. I want to introduce you to Jack Osment. Jack is an Eagle Scout at a Troop 11 at Providence United Methodist Church. I first met Jack last year at Myers Park High School, where I was the speaker at the school's Honor Council Assembly. Jack understands servant leadership. He's been involved in our Scouting for Food, Good Turn for America project. He's completed his Eagle project. Also know that Jack has been accepted and will be attending the United States Naval Academy this fall. Please welcome Jack Osment.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Good evening, everybody. In order to attain the rank of Eagle, a Life Scout must plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to any religious institution, any school, in their community. While seemingly a simple and broad requirement, this project is often regarded as kind of a Scout's most rigorous test and the preeminent demonstration of all that Scouting has taught them about leadership. For my project, I chose to build new long jump and triple jump pits for my school's track and field team. Also, I think my coach saw an opportunity for some free labor and an easy way to complete a seemingly simple project, but more on that later. I'll go into detail later. What most Scouts don't anticipate with the Eagle Scout project is the massive amount of planning and paperwork and budgeting that the Boy Scouts of America requires of them before they can even drive the first nail or move the first shovelful of dirt. And it's really the first leadership lesson in Scouting. It's be prepared. And for me, this was actually the most frustrating part of this whole thing, of this whole project. In fact, my first project proposal was actually rejected pretty quickly. According to the district representative who I met with, I needed more detail, and I added more detail, and then it was rejected again, and I needed more detail. So I actually went to my school's engineering department, and I created a computer-aided drawing of the wooden frames that would be used to support the pits. I added in every detail that I could, from the thread and pitch of the screws to the cubic volume of sand that each pit would hold. And I came up with an excessively complex safety plan that dealt with how I would deal with every possible catastrophe, from dehydration to a kid losing his hand to a power saw. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So after about a month more of this planning and coordination with the district, they finally approved my project. I was prepared. So, however, something that I believe is unique to the Eagle Scout project as a requirement in the Eagle Scout handbook is just the sheer number of eventualities that can occur during its execution and kind of the test that these unforeseen consequences offer on the Scout. For instance, I got a call in the middle of school that the dump truck that was bringing 20 tons of new sand was about 5 minutes away. So I sprint out of class, and 1 minute I'm doing calculus problems, and the next I'm doing real-world calculus on how I'm supposed to fit a dump truck the size of, it seemed like the space shuttle at the time, through a little entrance in the fence that was like the size of a doghouse. So as you can probably surmise, we didn't fit the truck into the track, into the fence. So thinking on my feet, I asked the driver to just put the sand at the closest place he could get the truck to. So immediately regretting my words, I learned my second Eagle Scout project leadership lesson, and that's be specific. So I watched as the driver proceeded to dump all 20 tons of the sand on the school's front gate, about 50 yards away from where it was supposed to be, and just absolutely nowhere near where I told the principal I was going to put 20 tons of sand on the school campus. But the true point, really, of the Eagle Scout project is for the Scout to lead others, not to do all of the work himself. So I was fortunate enough to have around 24 volunteers, Scouts, teammates, coaches, parents, and I'm sure some of you in this room have experience of trying to lead and motivate teenage boys and convince them to do any real work. But the true question is if any of you have experience also leading and trying to motivate their parents and your coaches at the same time. It makes for an interesting combination. Seriously, though, I'm really grateful for the 188 volunteer hours that were put into my project and that got it done in the time span of a weekend, really. So in addition to being prepared and being specific, I learned a few other leadership lessons. Always be adaptable, always have a good attitude, even if things look like they're falling apart, and never believe anybody, not even your coach, when they say that something will be simple and easy, especially when they're trying to get free work out of you. They're probably lying. And then this project really ultimately represented the coming together of my scouting career and the rest of my life. For years, I had kept scouting separate from school, my other extracurriculars, and my friends who weren't in scouting. But when I was completing my Eagle Scout project, I was no longer leading just the scouts in my troop. I realized that attaining the Eagle Scout rank represented the transition from a scout who is a leader in scouting to an Eagle who is a leader in his community. So though the lives of the 2.5 million Eagle Scouts in history pretty much diverged through countless different paths, we all cut our teeth on the Eagle Scout project. Last year in our council alone, 273 scouts repeated the same process that I just described to you, and that's a process that we've been doing here for over a century now. Eagle projects are as diverse as the scouts who lead them, and frankly, you probably pass by dozens of them here in Mecklenburg County every day. So when you do see that park bench or that bridge or that garden or library, that is the product of a young man's desire to join the 4% of his fellow scouts who have earned the rank of Eagle. Just know that you're looking at the work of another leader built here in scouting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Great job. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jack. I will tell you that we all know our country is proud and lucky to have you serve our country. Congratulations again.